Right then, the Premier League is back. This weekend we have got Manchester United against Tottenham Hotspur. Where is it? Doesn't fucking matter because we're not allowed to go. We have got a very important game though. Now Spurs have been playing a lot of games of late. Unbelievable, ridiculous schedule that they've had this week. But it's one of those things, you have to get over it. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we've seen them sign so many players. And it's weird talking about football in what is very much... no one cares, Steve. It's transfer season. What's going on with that? But we'll get to all the transfers, I'm sure, at some point. People forget that the transfers are there to make the football better. We're here for the football, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we're here for. Stop getting too carried away with the transfers. Enjoy the football if you can, because I know some of you care more about who we sign than actually did we win at the weekend. But I think we are going to win at the weekend. Let's go through the team news, the quotes, starting 11, all that good stuff. So some of the quotes from this week then from Ollie. He says, well, as I said here, we have the players to get results. Patrice, Rio, Gary, Fletch have always been welcome here to talk to me instead of doing their jobs, but they're allowed to do their jobs. We're all wanting Manchester United as high as possible, and that's my job, and that's what I'm working with. On that, I think... it's understandable. I saw a really good video, which I don't think is a new video actually this weekend, that I've watched a couple of times now. It's Rio Ferdinand talking about culture, Rio Ferdinand talking about standards, and Rio Ferdinand saying those standards aren't at the club anymore. And for me, he's right, and it's an issue. Rio talked about basically bullying players that he didn't think was good enough and setting the standard. He obviously took that from Roy Keane. Roy Keane obviously took that from Sir Alex Ferguson and the likes of Brian Robson and that. And I don't know who's setting that standard at Manchester United anymore. And I think he's absolutely right. And that when we talk about leadership, it's not just about who wears the captain's armband. It's about who sets those standards and who sets that culture. And I do worry about who does that at Manchester United at the moment. Team news then, Solskjaer confirmed that Maguire and Bruno will need assessing after missing the midweek game against Brighton with slight knocks. Honestly, I'm not buying that. I'm sure it was just a fully rotated side and that was the top and bottom of it. Both are expected to recover in time to start against Tottenham. Henderson turned in another decent performance and got a clean sheet in midweek, but I do expect De Gea to be back in the number 1 jersey for now. Eric Bailly is knocking on the door for Victor Lindelof at centre-half. And I've personally put him in my 11. You guys may agree or disagree. I think most of you would probably agree. If you saw the Stretford Paddock preview, me, Alex, and Ronaldo have literally all picked the same team, and I'm pretty sure you guys at home are probably going to be picking the same team as well. Let's hope Solskjaer picks the same team as us. Jose Mourinho confirmed that Son has got an outside chance of being fit, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Mourinho included him in the 11 for Sunday. Gareth Bale has only started training outside in midweek and he is expected to miss out on the weekend. That's probably some good news for United. Reguilon does look like he's going to make his Premier League debut for Tottenham against the club that he actually thought he was joining from Real Madrid this summer. Moussa Dembele and Ndombele are pushing for starts in midfield this weekend, while Lo Celso can recover from a bit of a knock that he picked up on Thursday night. Recent meetings then, United have won 6 of their last 7 home matches against Tottenham in all competitions. United's last defeat at home to Spurs came with a 3-0 loss on Monday night back in August 2018. You probably remember it. It was minging. Head-to-heads, Solskjaer has only lost 1 in the 3 meetings that he's had with Jose Mourinho. He is unbeaten against him as United manager. And United beat Spurs at Old Trafford and then picked up a point on the road last time we played Spurs. Solskjaer's only loss against Mourinho came in the 13-14 season when Cardiff lost 2-1 to Chelsea. United's opening day defeat to Crystal Palace means that United have won since that opening day defeat to Crystal Palace, United have gone and won 3 on the bounce in all competitions, and we've scored 3 goals in each of our previous 3 games. Tottenham are unbeaten since their opening weekend defeat to Everton. They put 5 past Southampton, and on Thursday they put 7 past Maccabi Haifa. What does that mean going into a Premier League game? Anybody knows, and to be honest with you, Thursday night to Sunday, not a lot of time. And I think some of that might play into the game at weekend. A bit of a tactical view of what we're going to be expecting then. In previous games, Josie hasn't really stuck with a consistent formation, but I think we should probably expect a 4-2-3-1 from him. Hugo Lloris is probably going to be starting in net. In front of him, Eric Dyer alongside Davinson Sanchez in midfield. Doherty's going to be from... Doherty will be starting on the right-hand side, and Ben Davies probably line up at left-back. New signing Reguilon might get a few minutes in the game, but I don't think he'll start him. The double pivot has worked really well for Tottenham this season, and I think Hoberg and Winks, but there's also a chance that you might see Ndombele replacing either of those as well. In attack, it could be a toss-up between Lo Celso and Dele Alli. Alli probably starts considering that he didn't have any game time against Newcastle, and Lo Celso is recovering from a slight knock from Thursday night. In attack, it's obviously going to be Harry Kane. Lucas Moura probably on the right, and considering that Son is injured, I would expect Bergwijn to start off the left-hand side, but Lamela could start on the left as well. Strengths, I think you've got to look at the big chances that they've created this season. Spurs have created the most big chances out of any team this season. They've also had 41 shots compared to 24 for United in just 3 games. I think that tells you a hell of a lot. Possession, Spurs are going to enjoy a lot against Newcastle. Spurs had 65% possession of the ball, took way more shots, had way more chances, way more dribbles, way more passes, and they also made a total of 1,600 passes in 3 games this season, which is the 5th highest out of all Premier League teams. Weaknesses? Well, being clinical. On all of those big chances that they created, they missed 5 big chances, which is more than any other team. And no Heung-min Son, with him being a doubt, I think if he doesn't play, it's a massive miss. I think he's an absolutely fantastic footballer. His ability to link up with Kane is massively underrated. I think he's the one that really makes them tick. So I'll be buzzing if he's not around. But here's the 11 that I expect United to go with then. As I said, it's pretty similar to what everybody's picking. Big Dave in net. I have gone with Bailly alongside Maguire. I think he's a better defender than Lindelof. He just can't stay fit. I'm going with Wan-Bissaka on the right, and on the left I've gone with Luke Shaw. 4-2-3-1 formation, which means that Pogba a little bit deeper alongside Matic, Bruno in the 10, Greenwood on the right, Rashford on the left, Tony Marshall up front. That's how I'm seeing it going down. That's what I think is United's best team, and that's the team that I reckon can get the job done. As you can see, we've got Spurs this weekend, and then we've got a 2-week break before we play Newcastle, and then we've got Chelsea. If United can pick up 3 points in that, that's a great start to the season. But honestly, between 0 and 9, how many points do you anticipate us getting? Because I'm going to be honest with you, and I don't think it's 9. Key player for United, I think, in this game, as in so many previous games, Bruno Fernandes. Whether that's to get a penalty or not, there's been a lot of controversy about the recent change to the handball rule. And we saw, I think it was Doherty actually, conceding a penalty with his arms down by his side. Now, for years, it's been if your hands aren't in an unnatural position, it's one of those. It gets let go. But since VAR's come in and since they've refined it this season, any contact with the arm whatsoever is handball. Now, I think it's actually more unnatural to plaster it against your side than it is sometimes to have it out. I've seen some horrific decisions this season on the back of that. And honestly, if I'm a Premier League manager, I'm telling my attackers to start chipping it up towards the midsection of players and try and catch them on the arm. And if we're doing that, that's a fundamental difference in the game. And that's where the law needs to be looked at, because it's fucking bullshit. It's absolute joke. And there will be teams that are doing it. Mourinho's probably the perfect guy for that. Any way you can gain an advantage within the rules, that's what you should be looking to do. And any contact with the arm being handball, it's a penalty. You know VAR's checking it. You should play for it. You really should, and I won't be surprised if some managers are playing for it. But with Bruno Fernandes, the absolute penalty maestro, I'd definitely be playing for that if I was Solskjaer. A little chip like that, just catch it on someone's arm. Any opportunity that you get, just firing it in there and see what happens, because it's a piss take, honestly. Game has absolutely gone. Right, I'm going to head over to the Patreon group for the questions. If you'd like to support the channel, you'd like to get some extra content, and we're going to have some new shows coming as well, because there's a little bit of a reorganisation happening here in the studio, and we'll be doing some new shows which are going to just be exclusive. Maybe one of them sounds like Schmeitzer Schlub. So maybe that's something to look out for if you missed the Pizza Club. Maybe that's coming back as a Patreon exclusive. If you want to know about that and you want to get in the mix with the community, the link for that will be in the description. Righty then, what would I say to the couch coaches who insist that Dalot deserves the starting right-back spot? I would say his defending against Brighton midweek had me wanting to punch the TV. He is good on the ball, but unfortunately there's two sides to a game of football, and to a defender, there's two sides to it. I don't even rate Trent. I think Trent's pure volume approach to crossing isn't good. He's actually unbelievable at set pieces, and he gets a lot of his cross success from set pieces, but his in-play crossing is actually horrendous. And he gets away with it because Liverpool are such an offensive team that he manages to get plenty of goals, which means that he's seen as being very effective. Defensively, he's really poor. If he was asking me who would I play for England, not that I care, but if I was going to say who plays for England, I'm not necessarily sure it's Wan-Bissaka, but it certainly isn't Trent. Both of them are too far stacked, either defensively or offensively. If it's the choice of just those two, though, it is Wan-Bissaka, because England aren't good enough, the way Liverpool are, to just be able to just dominate teams and have someone just throwing crosses in left and right like that. England probably should play someone like Wan-Bissaka if they've not got alternatives, and right back they actually have a lot of alternatives. Lamptey, for starters, it's probably better than both of them. But Dalot, miles off. And for people saying that he should be a right winger, that's how starved we've been of good right wingers that you actually think he's a good option. Despite Kane's lack of counter-attacking threat due to his pace, does Jose's low possession, low block tactics cause problems for us at both ends of the pitch? I don't think they're going to have such low possession in this game. I think they're probably going to dominate possession a little bit, and I think we're going to let them have the ball in certain areas. I don't think they're going to low block us. I really don't. I think that they're going to end up with more of the ball than they want, which I do think benefits Kane, because he is a shoot from anywhere kind of guy, shoot on sight kind of guy. On the counter, though, you're forgetting about Bergwijn, and you're forgetting about my mind has just completely gone blank. Lucas Moura. Those two are effective on a counter. And Kane drops into this weird sort of like 9.5, 10 sort of space and becomes a bit of a playmaker, which he's pretty good at because he holds it up quite well. And that's when he is dangerous. You don't use Kane to be the end goal in a counter-attack. You use him to be the link in a counter-attack, because you have to go with Harry Kane. You can't just let him have the ball and sit off him 10 yards. You have to go tight to Harry Kane. When you go tight to Harry Kane, if he's dragged you out of position, if they've got third man runs that they're looking to get people on the end of, that's when they're going to cause you problems. And they're plenty good enough to do that, which is what I would be worried about. But United do have pace in the back line too. And certainly I would go with Eric Bailly over Lindelof for that, because I thought that loss at home a couple of years ago, oh my God, Lindelof was so poor. Harry Kane literally had him on toast. It was embarrassing. So I wouldn't want a repeat of that, and I'd put Eric Bailly in. Do I think like players like the Pog, Luke, and even myself, this is Eric Bailly in the comments, have some extra fire when it comes to coming up against Jose? Maybe. Yeah, I think that's probably maybe, yeah. Maybe not this match, but does Mata need to play more? Yes. I'd play him in place of what Bruno does, though, not as that like wide playmaker. I don't think it works. With Jose getting backed and strengthening his squad while the Glazers continue to suck our club dry, is it now likely Spurs will finish above us this season? I'll reserve judgment until the window's closed, but it could be very tight. Is this match a lose-lose for Ollie from a media and haters perspective? Lose and he gets beaten by a Spurs team that just play a match every other day, and it's Jose. And win and he just beat poor old Jose and Spurs who've had to play a match every other day. Yeah, probably is, but I'd much rather be the one that loses while winning. Are the pre-seasons over yet? I don't think so. I think we probably need a few more games, like probably another couple more games. And is Rashford fully fit? I don't know. I don't know the answer. Yeah, that'll do. I think that's it from me. Any more questions in the chat? Doesn't look like it. Listen, cheers for tuning in. Like I said, make sure to check out the link below for the Patreon group if you want to come in and join in the mayhem. All of the Stretford Paddock FC highlights, the full 90 minutes, And the interviews, which are for members on the Stretford Paddock FC channel, are now also going on Patreon as well as of this weekend. So you can check all of those out if you're part of the Patreon group. We're putting them into the Facebook group, so go check them out there. Cheers for tuning in, everybody, once again. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. And let's hope for another 3 points on Saturday, eh? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Or even on Sunday, tomorrow. Laters.